Good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on when you're watching. I am so excited about today's guest. I will tell you that his internet might be a little bit wonky for where he is, so please be understanding about that, and I'll also type that in the chat box. I have not seen him, it turns out, in many years, but he's always been in my brain, because if I ever was going to be a real chef, and by a real chef, I mean not that a pastry chef isn't a real chef, but I don't work in a restaurant anymore. He would be the one that I would choose to shadow and learn from. He is, if not the best vegan chef, at least in the top like 3. Come on. If you've ever been to Millennium Restaurant, which is now in Oakland, you know what I'm saying is true. And he's so kind that if you tell him 24 hours in advance that you can't have oil, he will make you an amazing dinner. He was the chef at Healthy Taste of LA the year that Dr. McDougall came. And he's a chef's chef. What can I tell you? He's extremely talented. And he's got 2 books. I only have one of them, this one, and you can see lots of good stuff to make. And I don't know if you can see how he signed it, but anyway, I was so excited when I first met him. He's going to be making a recipe that I can't even pronounce. So please welcome Chef Eric Tucker. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to watch you cook.
Well, AJ, thank you very much for having me. All right, so we're going to make some fresh pasta because it's about the simplest fresh pasta you could possibly make. The pasta shape is called a Trofie. It's traditionally it's hails from the Liguria region, and it's traditionally the pasta they serve with pesto, and that's the Italian, the basil pesto. We're actually going to serve it with pesto Trapanese, which is a Sicilian tomato and almond pesto versus a pine nuts and basil pesto. And we'll get to that in a second, but a little bit about the pasta. It's basically, it's almost more akin to like a dumpling, almost like a spatzel. And basically you'll see in a minute or two how we're just going to take little bits of dough, rub it between our hands, and we're going to get these little strange noodle, some people consider them very sort of worm-like little noodly things. And you blanch them off till they float there, and what you get is it's a really nice chewy pasta. It's a good foil, or having that sort of rich sort of pesto of either form is a good foil for the texture of the pasta. And we're using whole wheat flour, or you could use a whole wheat durum semolina flour, because the traditional recipe is some semolina flour, water, and salt. Actually, everyone's got a different recipe. A lot of them are just some flour, regular white flour, water, a little bit of salt. Easy. And I really like it better with the whole grain flours because you get more flavor. All right, so, whole grain, hopefully you can see this. This is a whole grain durum. Semolina refers to the grind. Durum is the type of wheat it is, and it naturally has that sort of more sort of yellowy color. That's the traditional flour that is used in making dry pastas. Because it's got a really strong gluten content. Clocks in about like 13.5, 13.6% gluten. Gives you a really chewy pasta. I've made the batch that I'm going to use over here with a whole wheat flour, and both of these flours are from our California flours that run about an hour 20 minutes away up in the Capay Valley. There's a whole sort of resurgence of local grains and folks growing it and milling so you can get really fresh, local, organic whole grain flours. This is from Community Grains in Oakland. They also own Oliveto Restaurant. They're now their pizza crust, only 100% whole wheat. This Patwin hard wheat, really, really lovely flour, probably clocks in about 11 to 12% gluten content. Nice fine mill on it. So it works great for the pasta. Good for baking bread. It's good for pizza. If you cut it with a little bit of a lower gluten flour, you'd have a good baking flour as well. A little bit about the pesto Trapanese. It's a basic tomato and almond pesto, and it's basically you got tomatoes, you got almonds. From there, you got garlic. Got to have some garlic. From there, if you look up on the web, you're going to see everyone has a different recipe. Some folks use fresh tomatoes. Some people only use cherry tomatoes. Some use canned tomatoes. Some use roasted tomatoes. Some like to roast their almonds. Some do not. Sometimes they have a little bit of chili in it. Some do not. And herbs are essential. So today's version is going to have a little bit of a chili arbol. Actually, chipotle chili, because I love spicy. I throw chili in everything. It's going to have mint, parsley, and marjoram because it's really aromatic. Again, and we're going to use nutritional yeast, a little bit of lemon. We're going to toast, some garlic, some almonds, and we're going to toast that up. But we'll come back to that in a sec. What we'll do is make the dough, and I'll show you how to get these pastas made.
Eric, I love the idea of using almonds for pesto because sometimes pine nuts are so ridiculously expensive. I remember one time I saw a guy stealing them from Costco because they were like $40 for a single bag. So almonds are a great idea.
Yeah, and I mean, they're still on a wholesale. I mean, I'm still getting for like 18 to 20 something a pound. So what I have to, in this version here, I've got a mix of like 1 part of the whole grain semolina to 2 parts of the whole wheat. It's simple, and I'm going to use a little bit of salt. I got room temperature water versus cold water, and I'm going to use my hands for this. You could put it into a food processor and spin it to make the dough. You could use like a small KitchenAid stand mixer, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to mix in my salt. And for like 2.5 cups of flour, you're going to end up using about a cup of water. Just going to kind of knead this together. It gets all shaggy and it starts to pull together.
Somebody's asking, what if they're gluten-free? Is there a way to do it with a gluten-free flour?
What's that?
Somebody's saying if they have to be gluten-free, is there a way to make pasta using a gluten-free flour?
Yeah, some of the Bob's Red Mill baking mix, not bad at all. You could also make almost a spatzel which is kind of like an Indian. I forget what they call it, where it's just chickpea flour and water, and you cut it, you drop it through. If you have like a spatzel maker or something, you could use chickpea flour and water and make these like chickpea dumplings. Anyway, so I'm just kind of kneading it together.
You got to tell us what the tattoo is on your right arm.
On the right arm?
Yes.
There's a Gyoja beet.
And I know you have mushroom tattoos because you're a mycologist.
I mean, dabble in it. I mean, if I can, that's where I prefer to be, is up in the Sierras right now, picking spring porcinis and morels. But we were up last week, and we got a bunch of porcinis. The morels non-existent this year. Anyway, basically, from where we are now, you still want to knead it another 5 minutes. You want to get it; it'll get kind of like well, I got a little flour in here, you can't see, but it gets kind of smooth and glossy. And that's when you know you've got it ready to go. From there, you want to take your dough, put a towel on it, forget about it for about an hour to let it continue to hydrate, or an hour to 3 hours. This is a pasta where, sure, you can make it over. If you make it overnight, put it in your refrigerator. Make sure you take it out and let it come up to room temperature. Because if you don't, it's kind of a little bit of a pain to work with. All right, let's make these noodles. Again, it's really simple. I'm just going to make enough for one portion, so I got some lunch.
What's your favorite mushroom?
Favorite mushroom? I'd say probably porcinis. I mean, they're rich and meaty and delicious, followed by California Gold General. Okay, so I got a little bit of a log here. I'm gonna cut it down into some discs. Hope you guys can see that. Really simple.
Do you ever teach classes, Eric? I know at one point in San Francisco, you sometimes did.
I don't here in Oakland. We just don't have the room, and we're going 7 days a week. And I imagine it'll be the same thing unless we decide we want to do 6 days. We did maybe 6 days here in the city. We'll see, because one day might be, our brewer needs to come in and brew beer on like one day. So I don't know, but if for some reason I don't do 7 days, I consider doing classes, maybe like pizza classes, because in this San Francisco location, it's kind of fun to use a professional pizza oven that gets like screaming hot. Anyway, so I got these sort of like little ropes, roughly a 1/2 inch thick.
If you do teach classes, maybe you could also offer them online at the same time.
This is true. This is true. I gave it a thought for a hot minute when we were closed, but we then opened up our San Francisco restaurant for to go, and it just, I don't feel I have enough time for that stuff and try to do whatever else it is that I do. I'm not sure what that is, but it's something. Anyway, okay, so we got these things. Let's do one more. Hammered roughly 1/2 inch square. So got a little friend here. Okay, and to make this pasta, take your little friend in the palm of your hands, drop it on the ground, you're done. Maybe you get just a notch thinner. So it looks like a little dumpling worm-like thing. Not the most appealing thing on its own in terms of looks, but it's it's going to be utterly delicious and really toothsome. And you can kind of rip through these things pretty quickly. Am I going to make these for the restaurants? Probably not, but making them at home and getting a meal for 2 to 4 people doesn't take that long.
Jocelyn is asking if you have any plans on an opening date for Millennium.
Well, Millennium, an opening date for when we're reopened. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're going to be reopening for outside seating this coming Friday.
That's fantastic. And you're asking the name of his cookbook. He has 2. One is called the Artful Vegan, which I don't have. And this is the Millennium Cookbook with actual recipes from the restaurant. And they're really amazing.
Anyway, see how easy this is? That's it. It's really, if you got kids, get the kids involved.
Yeah, VG, he already said you can make it gluten-free, and he suggested witch flowers from Bob's Red Mill.
All right, a couple more. You could also get fancy and kind of roll it out, and you roll one side one way, one the other way, and you get a little bit of a twist. Just broke. Anyway, let's scratch that. But usually you could also play with that shape and get a little bit of a twist in it. Putting this stuff on a lightly floured sheet pan until we're ready to go. So again, that's a decent portion because it's going to suck up some moisture. And fun little, like, again, somewhere between a dumpling and a noodle. Now let's talk about our pesto. Okay, let me see if I could get the blender over here.
Eric, Joy says, why did you throw the ends off the table?
What's up?
Why did you throw the ends off the table?
These little ends here, I mean, you can't. They're just a little small. I mean, fold them up together. Done. So there you go. No waste there. All right, things we've got. We're going to dry toast our almonds. I'm going to toast up with the garlic cloves. I get a little toasty char.
Okay, you're frozen right now, Eric, and we can't hear you guys. If you came on at the beginning, I mentioned that he is not in a place with the best internet, but you're back, Eric, I believe.
Okay. Sorry about that. Again, I got some almonds. I got shelled almonds. They still have the skins. But what we're going to do, we're going to toast them.
Eric, Eric, people are asking where they can get your book. It's not on Amazon, they're saying.
Might want to check with an old school bookseller. It's still surprised that it's not on Amazon. That 10 Speed's thing is, I know both of them are still in print. You might want to go onto the 10 Speed Press website and check for it, and they could probably you could probably order it direct. Or also, you got a local retailer that still sells books. They could probably order it for you.
Right. I will look for it while you're cooking. And people are saying they're so excited the owners are truly vegan. And they're wonderful people, Ann and Larry Wheat. They're personal friends. And maybe they're even watching now. Who knows?
All right, guys, let's back to this thing. So I just want to get a little bit of a roast on this guy. Kind of a medium heat. Want a teeny bit of roast on the garlic cloves. I'm using some dry chipotle chili. You could add like, if you want chili, you could add anything you want, like a fresh serrano, a little bit of a dried herb bulb.
Yep, I found it on Amazon, guys. Here's the link. It's there. And I'll look for his other book, The Artful Vegan.
Couple more seconds, we're good to go. All right, so we've got the almonds and the garlic, just a little bit of toast. It's going to give it some really nice depth of flavor. It also, with the garlic, it tempers the kind of bitter sulfuric compounds by kind of breaking them down through heat. Technically, you want to let this cool down to room temp so it doesn't cook your herbs. But I'm going to toss it right in. I'm going to use you can use a food processor if you like it coarser texture. My food processor is too big, so I'm going to use a smaller Vitamix blender. Tomatoes. Again, you could go any way you want. At the above ground, I'm using cherry tomatoes that we sort of roast, basically a dry roast with a little bit of herbs on them. I've got some fresh cherry tomatoes as well. The fresh tomatoes will give it more of a sort of a little bit more of acidic punch to it. It seems like the cooking will temper the acidity and bring out a bit more of that sort of middle of the palate umami. But seriously, this is a recipe that's made to be broken. If you look around for Pesto Trapanese, you're going to see all sorts of recipes. Nutritional yeast, in my opinion, is really important. It's kind of give you gets you to the ballpark of having that sort of funk of a like Parmesan. Just adds, again, a whole bunch of umami richness. I'm big on nutritional yeast, so I'm going to go nuts on it. Herbs, again, we talked about some parsley, mint, and marjoram. Play around with it. I did this at home about a month and change ago, and my garden is full of oregano, fennel fronds that were in the garden, some sage, a couple other miscellaneous herbs, and we did this pasta. Again, this is just with the pesto. Add whatever vegetables you want. I did it at home because a month and change ago, because we had fresh fava beans that we plucked from the garden and the tail end of the asparagus. Herbs go in. Want a little bit of acidity, a little bit of lemon juice. Also help, the lemon juice is going to help keep the color. Drop of salt. Some trusty water over here to thin this thing out. And just a drop of water to get it to run. All right, so let me put it, 1 second. Let me get a bowl. I did this intentionally on the
He's frozen.
almonds are, broken down, but there's little bits of almonds. You could blend this till it's perfectly smooth if you want. I like texture. I like little bits of things in there. That's just me. I like the way it looks on the plate. And, again, the sky's the limit. You can do it however you want. Again, if you amp the quantity of tomatoes, especially using nice deep red tomatoes or roasted tomatoes, you'll get more of a red look. This is
Uh-oh. When I go like this, sometimes he comes back. There he goes.
You okay?
Yep.
Everything there?
Yeah, you froze a little bit, but you're back.
Anyway, so we got this. I'm going to taste it to make sure we're on point here. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good. What this tastes like is the sum of its components. You're getting, a nice umami and almond component, garlic, and again, I put a little bit of chili, so I get the chili, then you get the aromatics. I love marjoram because it's so bright, and I love using mint and savory. It's I use it a lot. It's awesome. Anyway, let's take a look and see what we got going on here. Bear with me for 1 second.
He's in a real kitchen, guys. If you've been to Millennium Restaurant, tell us in the chat what you get.
All right, I got some water. It's up to a boil. I've got it salted. Got my little strange looking worm-like pasta friends over here. So obviously they sink to the bottom, and we're gonna wait for them to float to the top, and I'll pull it over. Then after they float to the top, I wanna let it continue to cook at least another 30 seconds.
You haven't.
Any questions?
Yeah. Will Chef Eric come back and make a dessert? Yeah, that's the question.
For this, boy, I wish I was prepared. I would have made I don't
Well,
know.
you can come back. We have some nice comments. Millennium is the whole experience. It's my favorite restaurant in the whole world. It doesn't matter what you order. It will be original, incredible, and filling. Life wouldn't be the same without Millennium Restaurant. And people are saying they're going to get the cookbook, which is great. Yeah, it really is an experience. Timmery says she orders the chef's special tasting menu when she goes there. Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's fine dining. And the thing is you don't even have to be vegan to enjoy it. That's the best part. You can take regular people there and they'll be impressed.
Hold that thought. All right, so our little friends, I don't know if you can see them kind of floating up to the surface. If you can't, you get the picture. I'm going to let it do its thing for another 20, 30 seconds. And we are good.
The restaurant is located in Oakland, Rosalie.
What's up?
Rosalie was asking where the restaurant was. I was saying it used to be in San Francisco. Now it's in Oakland.
Yeah, so Millennium is in the Rockridge district, 5912 College Avenue. And if you're in the Bay Area, it's easy to get it. We're a block away from the public transit, the BART station. And then we have this other thing that I'm here today. It's basically a brew pub restaurant. Doing pizzas. I can show you. You can see the edge of our pizza ovens, and other like fun sort of beer and booze centric food with a sort of a Mediterranean California slant. And one of these days we'll get this thing for reals open. We'll see what happens. Anyway, back to our friends over here. So you see that they swelled up a little bit. Got just the smallest amount of the pasta water. And you definitely want to be generous with your pesto. And I'm doing it, I'm stripping it down to its basics, pesto and pasta. But again, you're heading to, like summer squash season. This would be tops with some roasted summer squash.
Adele says she has lots of basil in her garden. Would that work for the herbs?
All right. So again, I love the look of this because it's not refined. You get the bits of the green, the little bits of the red, and maybe back a long time ago I would have put a bunch of stuff on it. But again, I would serve it with some vegetables. Some spinach wilted into this, or kale or chard to be stellar. Some sautéed mushrooms. Of course, I'm going to say that. Also stellar. But this to me looks great. And I like the look of whole grain pasta. I like that. I think let's get a fork here.
Eric Robbins says she noticed
you like that look, and it's kind of looks more like a dumpling in many respects than a pasta. And it really you want that pesto to kind of coat everything, which it does. Let's go in for hurry up.
Wow, you're making us hungry. Eric Robbins says
seriously really good, chewy. If you like chewy stuff, chewy pasta, like dumplings, like sort of like a Germanic like spatzel, right up your alley. If you like Korean duck, which is that chewy rice sort of rice pasta, or chow fun, right up your alley. And this is right up my alley. I'm gonna you know I'm going to tear into this one once we're done. It's not going to survive another minute. And again, you saw it's a real easy, nice portion. Took me what 5 minutes to roll out. Easy, easy, easy. And again, the sky's the limit on the pesto. You do what you got, some almonds, some garlic, some tomato. After that, whatever you want to do. Again, for me, nutritional yeast gets you into that middle of palate sort of thing that like a Parmesan or some sort of dairy might do. But if you did it sans that, it'd be still lovely. So there you go.
It's beautiful. Robin says she noticed you did not rinse the pasta after cooking.
Oh God, no. No. For this, I want that starchy yumminess to adhere, because I'm eating it. If I was going to cool this down, I definitely would have rinsed the pasta. If I was serving it at the restaurant, like sometimes when we do fresh pasta, I'll have to pre-cook my pasta, get it nice and cool, get that starch off it, so I could hold it. But for this, pull it out, add your sauce, and go. I mean, it's in its finest moment, like a couple minutes after it comes out of that pot. And I wouldn't want to rinse it in cold water and cool it down anyway. So, and if you saw, I poured a little bit of the starch water back onto it. So it creates a liaison with your almond pesto to create a little bit sort of richer sauce. And especially if you're doing something like a pasta with a very thin sauce, using that's an old school Italian trick, is to save a little bit of that pasta water, dump it back in, or even cook your pasta. If you're using a dry pasta, cook it really al dente, like a multi al dente, where it's too, you can't eat it, it's not cooked enough, and throw it into your sauce and stuff and let it finish the way there. It exudes some starch, it picks up the sauce, and you get this sort of rich, creamy sauce. Like if you're doing like a sauce where you're just using something, say like soy milk that's not very thick, having a bit of that starch water is gonna, get it to tighten up on your pasta.
Great. Adele says she has basil right now growing in her garden. Would that be an okay herb to use for the pesto?
Stella, yeah, please, absolutely. I'm hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll be swimming in basil. So I'm going there with basil.
Right. And Janet says, what kind of nutritional yeast do you use? Meaning what brand?
I think it's Red Star. It's like the standard. It seems like I know there's a couple brands, but I think it's Red Star, but I'm not certain.
Yeah. So you're cooking every day. Like, obviously you eat your food, but like when you get home and you're tired, do you just have a bowl of cereal?
No. I live for like quick Asian noodles. Quite honestly, I fire up some soba noodles, and I'll make like a quick 5-second sesame peanut sauce. There's always chili paste involved. There's always garlic involved, and there's always some sort of green in my fridge. There's always like gailan or bok choy and stuff like that. So that's kind of my like afterward go-to, and if my wife doesn't have a dinner or whatever, stuff like that. And with this whole sort of pandemic thing, I can't begin to tell you, like, we got dolls and beans and stuff, and I've been making crazy things when I've had the time. Now that I'm back into the restaurant thing, not as much, but sourdough bread, too much bread.
Yeah. I didn't know you were married.
We're not officially married, but we've been together for a decade.
Okay, well, good. Well, it's just okay. Well, you're not single though, in case anybody's wondering. That's the main thing. That must be incredible to be married to you.
No, I don't think it would be. I mean, because I live the life of a chef, so it means I get home late a lot of times, and I work a lot of. I try to get keep in an ideal world. I'm off most Sundays, but most of the weekends I also have to work through. So, but the plus side is my partner and I we both love, like, we got just a teeny little plot of land, and we're growing all sorts of vegetables, and we're up in the hills picking mushrooms. We're totally into food.
Nice. But you also like riding your bike, right?
Yeah, I still try to get up in the hills. That's why I love Oakland. And actually, it's funny. The Millennium space in Oakland is right, kind of on the main thoroughfare up that takes you up into the hills above Oakland, which all the roadies use. So it makes it convenient to get out on the road.
Wow, that's great. Has there ever been a recipe you haven't been able to veganize?
Yeah, I'm sure what they are off the top of my head, I don't know, but I'm sure of it. Sure,
Okay.
There's probably been some,
Tim Ree says your work is much appreciated. Please take care of yourself. What do you, I know like when you ask a chef their favorite recipe, they get upset. They say, well, that's like asking me my favorite kid. So I'll rephrase it. Is there a recipe you created of which maybe you're most proud?
I don't know. No, I have no idea. But recently, with this new thing, doing the pizza thing, just working on my dough and getting what I feel is a really, really solid pizza dough. It's not 100%, not nearly 100% whole grain, but I've got like 25% whole spelt in there, and we've got a long 30-hour ferment, and we just get this beautiful light, crispy crust that kind of puffs up, and it's really wonderful.
Wow. How long have you had the restaurant? Gisela wants to know.
Millennium has been around 25 years, going on 26. We've gone through 3 different locations. Somehow we keep chugging away, and hopefully we're going to get through the whole shelter-in-place pandemic thing and survive that. Then we got this space in the city that we were supposed to open it up the day they told us we have to shut everything down. So, 9/10 of the way finished. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We've been doing, pizzas and stuff out of this kitchen to go, and with, definitely some good responses.
Nice.
But it's not the same, not having a dining room, and, no matter how you slice it, you're just not going to be able to do the volume and generate the revenue and all that kind of stuff. So,
I'm sorry about that. I hope things will get back to normal soon. Who's the most famous person you ever served at the restaurant?
I don't know. I left back in the Stone Age, George Clinton, P-Funk. Most famous, I don't know. We've had Al Gore. We've had myriad of actors and musicians. It doesn't resonate a whole lot with me. There are some musicians that I used to know from when they were in punk bands back in the 80s that, made it to big stages and stuff like Foo Fighters. I was associated with some of those folks back, we're talking 30 plus years. And when they've come in and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you from a hall show in Philadelphia in '88 or something like that.
So Lisa's asking, how can we support Millennium right now? Buy the cookbook? Is there anything we can do to help get things back to the way they were?
If you're in the area, or buy a gift certificate for a gift for anyone that you think might want to come down to the restaurant. If you're in the Bay Area, we're doing to-go food at Millennium, and we're opening up our outdoor patio, which is very limited seating. So what we're going to do is do a pre-feed menu, like a set. We'll have a choice of things, but it's gonna be like a 5-course menu. It'll be, make it really nice, and it'll be a cool environment. And that's all you can do wherever you're at. If you can support your local small business, restaurant, small grocery, natural food store versus some of the big corporate places, please do.
Are there any chefs that have inspired you or that inspire you now, vegan or not?
Boy, yeah. There's tons. Way back in the Stone Age in New York, I went to Natural Gourmet Cookery School, and there was a restaurant that was way ahead of its time called Nosmo King, meaning no smoking. Chef was Alan Harding. He's in downtown Manhattan. I believe Alan is still doing restaurants, not vegan by any stretch, but it was like kind of what Millennium became in terms of being eclectic, sort of like a polyglot, like multicultural mess of stuff, influence thrown together, and you always had like quality.
Oops, he's frozen again. Come back, Eric. Great questions, you guys. Thank you. Come back, Eric.
Before anybody else. But anyway, hopefully you can hear me. But for some reason that just got into my head a couple of days ago. I was thinking about that.
Nice. You started at Millie's, right? Was that your first job as a chef?
Absolutely. Yeah, I came out there for an internship from Natural Gourmet, and I was like always kind of like the Bay Area. It's like, dude, I could live out here. They asked me 3 months later to come back, and I was ready to make a change. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can't. You're going in and out. So I apologize, guys, that he's in a place that doesn't have great Wi-Fi. But you're going to get the recipe. It's going to be in the show notes. And maybe he'll come back in a time where he's in a place with even better Wi-Fi so we can find out more about him. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been great catching up with you. I can't believe how long it is. I think about you all the time, though. I really do. You're one of the chefs that really do inspire me. You are what I call a chef's chef. You're the real deal.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
And, thank you all for tuning in. And AJ, thank you for having me on. I'm glad I was able to pull this off. Or semi pull it off.
Well, you did great. And maybe when you're in a place with better Wi-Fi, you come back and do a dessert. People want to see you do one of your great desserts.
Okay. That's usually one of the pastry chefs, but I could easily pull that stuff off. Sure.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for being here. And thank you guys for being here. And tomorrow we have another chef, Chef Mark Reinfeld at 11 o'clock. And he's going to be making something that Eric would like with mushrooms. Something with mushrooms. Oh gosh, I'm terrible. Aracini, some kind of ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Great. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much, Eric. Take care.
Guys, thank you. And AJ, thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.